the Maryland Transportation Authority laying out an estimate on replacing the Key Bridge that not only costs more, but will take longer to build. That revised cost is steep, in the neighborhood of $4.3 billion, $5.2 billion. The initial estimate last year was $1.7 to $1.9 billion, and then there's the timeline. Initially, fall 2028 was the target date, now late 2030. That's 2 years longer, leaving us all wondering why.
All right, so, well, of course, predictably, Governor Moore could not wait to blame Donald Trump. Oh, it's the tariffs, it's cost and everything. How do you miss your estimate by $2 billion? $3 billion, really, if you look at the ranges. This, in my opinion, is a direct consequence of really incompetent bureaucrats that are doing executive functions. And I have said over and over again, Governor Moore is not an executive, right? And he's never functioned as an executive. He does not understand executive leadership. Something like this would never happen in the private sector, right? These kind of things only happen when taxpayer monies are involved. Because you know why? Because in order to do projects, you have to build capital. You have to convince investors that you actually have a plan that's going to work. The reality is that the Maryland government has been operating under the idea that no one's really going to hold them, accountable for what they were doing. And so basically it's, the sky's the limits, right? Who cares about that? In the private sector, if you're going to lay out a project and you're going to give out estimates, you have to be very close to those numbers. Otherwise, you don't get promoted. You don't get into those roles. The other thing that I think is a big factor with these cost overruns and these timeline shifts is the fact that Maryland has long been assuming that they would not have to pay any of the bills, right? This is very equivalent to someone saying, oh, just go buy a car that you want and I'll take care of everything. Well, if you're not paying for it and if you're not, making any of the decisions, and you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to get whatever I want. I want all the fixings. I want to do all this and I want to expand this and I want to do this. That's exactly what happened with this project. Because the federal government under the Biden administration had committed to paying for this bridge, I am confident that Governor Moore and the Maryland Department of Transportation and everyone that was involved is like, oh, well, if we're not paying for this, let's just do whatever. Well, it turns out now you've got major problems because the governor of Maryland is trying to run for president and he's really challenging the sitting president, and that relationship is not good. Whether the federal government pays for that. I mean, after this, by the way, Donald Trump is absolutely going to use this as a hook and say, we're not paying for this bridge, and we're going to be on the hook for that. 2 years late, billions in overruns. This is the consequence of electing people that don't know what they're doing into these roles. Maryland, you got to make some better choices because we're in for a rough road. And when this hits the Maryland budget, it's going to be a disaster.